What's up, y'all? This is Brendan Boyd, and this is On the Pursuit, episode 1. You know what it is. I had to connect with my guy, Ferb. We go back a bunch of years. This is when I was knee-deep in the fashion game, and he was knee-deep in the rap game, knee-deep in the music game. And fast forward, here we are in Los Angeles, whole nother city. I'm out here now, and I had to connect with him to kick off this On Pursuit podcast. And, we connect with movers, shakers, entrepreneurs, businessmen, people trying to make waves in industries. And, this is one person that I've seen making a lot of waves. So without further ado, let me introduce to you my first guest, Ferb. And what's up, bro? Good to have you on the podcast, to be on the first episode of the podcast.
It's good to be here.
So, man, it's been a minute. Well, not really a minute since we connected, but I would say it's been a minute since when we first met to now.
Yeah.
And, the game done changed. Industry's done switched up. Hustler's going to hustle. Entrepreneur's going to find a way.
Exactly.
Going to pivot, going to make some money, going to make some waves.
Exactly.
And why don't you tell us a little bit about your story from, kind of when we first met. You was an artist coming out of the DMV in Memphis. And also, we connected. We definitely connected as far as society is concerned. You were one of the first people that we had in the campaign. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story?
It's interesting you start there. That's cool because it's like, I guess ever since that time where you said the DMV, a lot of people know me from Memphis. Since that time, I kind of like reinvented a lot about myself. I went to college at the University of Maryland, and that was a really fun time for me at that time. I was just turning up, really. Like, I had a college radio show.
Oh yeah. So this ain't new to you, right?
Yeah. This like a it's weird. Like it's like a cycle. You know what I'm saying?
It's like an homage.
Yeah, it's like really bringing it back to like the essence of what it was already. You know what I'm saying? And that's around the time I met you. So it's the irony just keeps perpetuating itself.
That's true. And back then, I was really into the fashion game. Had a brand that was culturally impactful.
Mm-hmm.
We were groundbreaking in the sense there's a lot of trends out here that we actually was on the forefront and the cusp of.
Uh-huh.
And like I fancy myself as like a low key A&R.
Uh-huh.
A lot of the artists that we connected with, they ended up doing some really major things in the industry.
Uh-huh.
And you were one of the people that came across my desk. You know what I'm saying? Like back then it was like Two Dope Boys and all these different websites, Hip Hop for Lunch, all these different blog sites that did music.
Right.
And I came across you, and then also our mutual friend Peter, he had introduced me to you as well. But when I heard that first mixtape, man, it was really, really special. And the title of that was Chase Your Dreams, Not the Competition.
Right.
And I feel like it's very fitting because I feel like you're still doing that.
Yeah, like just today, I just announced today partnership I'm doing with a cosmetic brand, and they one of the most fundable companies, Pepperdine's finalists. Pepperdine University does like this competition where startups can apply, and we're in the finalists. A company I helped do brand design for, create a merchandise packet for.
And then how does that segue to now, like from music to now? How would you explain like how you get into the bag?
Nowadays I do a lot of I just say like creative executive work. So, from the production, from the outset of pre-production to going over, whether it's with in the music world, whether it's going over treatments or concepts or titles of albums, and developing from the idea to the actual product that comes out at the end. So whether that's a single, a song, a merchandise collection, or a video that starts off as like one of our favorite songs in the studio, to seeing out the actual vision and visual capability.
So really, you're like a high level executor.
Yes, sir.
Because if it's music, if it's a collab, if it's a project,
right.
If it's the clothing, which we'll definitely spend some time on this us and us situation. It just seems like you've been always finding a way and executing on a high level.
I just like to do, like I like to accomplish a lot of different things. I guess most of the people I looked up to, I used to carry around a folder with Quincy Jones and Jeff Bezos, and people would be looking at me crazy, like, why you got like a folder with pictures of Quincy Jones and Jeff Bezos in it? And even at that time too, I had a picture of Elon in there, but I took it out and just kept those two because to me, those two exemplified prolific, prodigious behavior. Like Quincy Jones traveled across the seas.
Can you say that one more time? Prolific, prodigious behavior?
Yeah.
Break that down real quick.
The behavior, or every single day they wanted to create content, and they wanted to create not only just content within their field, but they wanted to create content or products in multiple various fields. Quincy Jones has scored films, worked with Frank Sinatra. He launched the careers of Oprah, Will Smith, Michael Jackson's best album. Arguably his best album came from Quincy Jones Productions. Jeff Bezos started by slanging books. You know what I'm saying? And now my mama ordering shoes from him, Spanx from him, regular household products from him. So these people covered multiple industries. So they were very prolific, but their work was prodigious in the fact that it's acclaim. It actually impacted lives. You know what I'm saying?
So what do you say to people that be like, yo, you doing too much? Not you specifically, but you know how people, they say, yo, you doing too much. You spread too thin. You got this going on. Focus on one thing. Now, I personally believe that there is some importance and some brilliance to focusing on a singular task.
Right.
But what you just kind of explained to us, you're basically breaking down like, you're like a futurist in a sense of, and you're taking some cues from the greats.
Yeah.
But you're saying that you don't have to stay singular. You can make a lot of activities and produce on a high level in various industries and various categories. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yeah, and I'm kind of laughing because I'm just basically saying, like, if you great, be great. Like, I mean, I tell this to one of my, a specific business partner and client of mine all the time. And now the kid has a basketball team, a highly touted recreational marijuana brand, gold, platinum plaques. And it's just like, if you're a creative, man, I see for you to don't stop. Don't let it stop you.
And who we talking about here? CMG Breezy?
Yeah, my boy CMG Solomon, CMG Breezy.
I think that's a perfect example. I know him as well. And you're right. Like he's definitely someone that blends categories. He's not just a producer.
Yeah.
He's definitely making work in various industries. I was on the gram earlier today, and I seen that he got a nice little project he about to roll out on the yacht. In the cannabis, like he's basically in infusing cannabis experience and a yacht life.
Yeah.
So definitely, I would agree to that. I think. If you listen to this podcast, if you're watching this podcast, don't feel like you have to be in one particular lane. Now, what I also like to say is sometimes it's not the time to do everything at the same time. Sometimes you got to roll something out, get some momentum, have that shit rolling. Maybe you're automating that. Maybe you got some other people involved that are helping you, and then you start rolling on the next vision or the next idea. If you're starting from scratch, and you're literally trying to do 4 or 5 things all at the same time, that's very different, But if you got some momentum, and then you start to transition on to something else that you're gonna also have some success in or that you're passionate about, I definitely personally I can see success with that type of strategy.
It takes time. It definitely takes time, right? So when I speak on Quincy Jones, like, we talking about somebody who, Quincy, what he back in the Harlem days of the jazz clubs, and then to working with, scores of movies in the 80s. He's been working in it. It was decades that you can chronicleize his career if you go watch like the Netflix documentary, or even like something on a smaller level, like myself. Like, my company was funded 2017. I started a production company, right? And so when I set out, I said I want to have a music branch, a digital media branch and a merchandising branch. And I knew, and the people knew who, funded me, because we presented it in a deck, that this was going to take me 3 to 5 years to establish, right? So now here I am in my 4th year of the 5-year plan, and every year, like for an example, I took the first year, 2018, to set up the music branch. I worked on music production. I learned and put myself in a studio, cleared my, space to learn more about the music production services so that I could become a producer, a better producer, more than just a consumer or a standby watcher. Second year, I put time into digital media. I worked with Francisco Navarez of Smile and Smile Marketing, and who now works, with everybody from Rock Nation to Atlantic to the Lights Global. And he taught me a lot about digital media. We ran projects and campaigns with 42 Doug and Gotti, et cetera, et cetera. Yep. 2020, I launched my merchandise wing. And that's where, Us and Us kind of brings us to today. You know what I'm saying? And I told them, like, okay, my biggest revenue year isn't going to be until end of year 4, year 5, right? So I projected this out and I scaled that out. I knew that those 3 things I wanted to cover because I have some field or background or expertise in those 3 things. I wanted to cover those things. I have multiple friends and independent contractors within those realms. So once I was able to do that, then I was able to bring it all together. And now it's like today we're having this conversation. It's beautiful. The cosmetic brand just announced that they're one of the finalists in the most fundable companies. That was something I had been working on silently for like a year. I have artists that are, debuting. CMG is announcing. When does this podcast come out?
This podcast is most likely going to drop next Monday.
Okay, so by the time this podcast come out, this will be announced. But, we got the XXL cover, Yo Gotti, CMG announcing our new partnership with Interscope. That's a longevity, partnership that I've had working with them for a while.
So we got to touch on that too. I mean, I want to touch on the Us and Us, and I definitely want to touch on the relationship with CMG and how that looks like. But you were just kind of like wrapping up in terms of like the plan. Yeah. And how important is it for someone that is working on starting something or working on doing something currently to have a plan? Like if you're already moving, you don't have a plan, or if you're starting to put a plan together, what's the importance to that?
They call me like by hand. Like we used to have these jokes. Some people do math by calculators and Excel sheets. I'm math by hand, and I carry around notepads. I say it always starts with writing, right? So write the idea out. We used to do this practice exercise when I was in school for writing. They say take the first 5 minutes and just write every word that comes to your head. Write everything. Just get it out. Get every word out. Now, structure. Now write your intro paragraph. Now write this paragraph. Now write this paragraph. And so the fluidity of the words would come more easily because you just wrote whatever. I would just write, I'm being honest. Bullshit. All the crazy stuff. Just get out of my head. Love, wonder, da. Now, anytime I'm thinking about a topic, it just comes clearly. Or say if I write the idea out, I want my clothing line to be this by the end of the year, or I want to do this company. I wrote it down. So the first step to me is always writing it down so you get it out of your head and you can see it first. Whether you sketching out what an item looks like, all the best creatives I know, all of them, from the people who draw Nike shoes, it starts with a sketch. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Yeah, it starts with a sketch, or even what they call it in the comedy world, a comedy sketch. Like that started with somebody writing down what they thought would be funny.
Yeah, 100%.
That turned into a real, improv, type of deal. So, it starts with writing it down.
So you're saying it's very important to write things down. So that kind of brings me to
manifest.
To manifest for sure, and that kind of brings me to Us and Us. Now, if you look at the Us and Us logo, it looks like a handwritten logo.
It is.
So, how did that start? Like, when you were sketching out the US, the Us and Us, the US, and even with the ampersand, was that just a sketch? Was that just an idea? Was that just a doodle? Or did you already kind of have Us and Us kind of pegged to be something, didn't necessarily know what it was, or maybe you didn't know what it was? Like, how did the Us and Us come about? Was that just a ramble? Was that just a random sketch and then it evolved?
Nah, man.
How would you say it?
The story behind Us and Us is actually ironic, which, brings me to talk about one of the owners too. Co-owner of Us and Us with me is none other than Mr. Gotti himself, right? And a lot of people, they keep things, they like to, just in terms of the partnerships and everything, they like to keep things private. But I can say that genuinely because I like to give people their credit and their flowers while they're alive, right? And I really believe in that. So one day I'm in a meeting, and it's just, me, myself, Gotti, and another guy. He's pitching to be a part of our, company. And he's telling the kid right there, really, here at CMG, we don't really hire outside of ourselves a lot. Like, we don't go outside of ourselves to hire a lot of people. And the reason that is because when we hire someone, we'll hire them at entry-level positions, intern, assistant, or whatever, but we groom them to grow from that position to intern, to assistant, to entry-level, to manager, to then one day being an executive, right? And he said, all we need is us. And so because I didn't want the other person in the meeting to also feel left out, because ultimately we were recruiting this guy, to work with us, I'm like, us, like as in me and Gotti, and us, like you being a part of us. And it just stuck. Yeah, in the head.
It felt good.
Yeah, and I wrote it down right there that day. I was like, damn, like us and us. Like us and us. Like not just one us. Like the both of our us's combined creates a bigger magnitude. So that's where it originally came from,
And then what is the brand all about? I mean, because as part of your plan, you mentioned merchandise and arm. And I assume that Us and Us Farms falls under that arm. So how would you best describe the Us and Us brand?
Group think, group technology, group economics. It's like a support group. Really, it's more than a clothing brand. It's kind of saved my life, really. Us and Us kind of saved my life. And I say that like a lot of people get like they hear me say that and they're like, it's a clothing line. What do you mean to save your life? But it's like the freedom. Like even the space where we are right now today, everything that I'm able to do, walking every single day I live now is taken care of and provided for by Us and Us. It gave me a time to sink into, I want to believe in the system of people, right? So I read this book a long time ago. It's called like Non-Zero Sum by Robert Wright. And in it, there's one parable, right? So it goes and talks about the tribe that went out every day into the ocean with a spear to stab for their fish, right? They did not outlast the tribe that created the fish net. And here's why. The tribe that created the fish net was able, with less work, get more produce, which then helped them develop technology or scientific advancement in wanting to create preservation systems. So they created the sandbag because the sandbags would then be cooled by the ocean water to create back then refrigeration systems to preserve food. Then they were able to populate more, all because they thought about us. The tribe with the spear only went out and hunted and could get only so many fish before they got tired with the energy, before they couldn't get enough to supply enough to keep the people fed, to even have extra time to come up with scientific advancements and so on and so forth. So for me, I want to wake up every single day, and I love waking up every single day and seeing the word us, because that lets me know that it's bigger than me. You know what I'm saying? Every single walking day of life is bigger than me. Us and Us is a collaboration company. Everything we do is a collaboration. We collaborate with people. That's something I learned from Kanye. Everything we do is a collaboration. You know what I'm saying? And I really believe in that.
So how would you best describe that? Because I know exactly what you're talking about. But before like a listener or a viewer who's checking out this podcast right now, right? Yeah. Because what you just said was actually very, very impactful. Right. Talking about, tribesmen going out, catching some fish, using a spear. You might get 1, 2, 3, 4. Right. Maybe you have a hot hour, a hot month, a hot week. Yeah. But it's going to take that same amount of energy over and over and over to do that, to get that small amount or that limited amount. Versus, like you said, the other tribe creating a net, casting that net, right? That net's going to get a maximum amount, a maximum haul, right? Bring that in with less effort You know, they can then cast a net, let it do what it do. Then they can go work on another task or work on the next future task.
Exactly.
So for the young entrepreneur listening, or maybe for the casual entrepreneur that's currently, watching and listening right now, how would you put that into like a modern term? Like, if they're out there like having a business, but they're basically locked into their business versus the automation, the setting up, the collaboration, the teamwork. How would you best describe that?
I mean, well, I think like sometimes when you start off as an entrepreneur, it's a little hard. So I acknowledge that, right? It's a little hard when you first start off as an entrepreneur, because as an entrepreneur, that literally means you're starting your own thing, right? So to get somebody to believe in your vision, you really have to do everything in the beginning, right? But that's the beauty of it, right? A mentor once told me you can't be a boss unless you've done every job, because how could you tell somebody else what to do if you've never done it before?
100%.
So, I'd say take your time learning your craft, learning the roles. But the most important thing is once you have learned those roles and the things and what needs to be executed and what needs to happen, the next thing is, bro, delegate. What I don't do what I don't do. I tell people this all the time.
100%.
They say, what do you do well? I don't do what I don't do. I have a couple exceptional qualities. And by no means is this me being arrogant by saying this. This is simply what I do. I put people in the room with people who they may not meet if it wasn't for me. That's one of the things I do well.
Yeah,
I'm a great
high-level connector.
Yes, great connector, right? And I take pride in that, and that's one thing I do. And I have creative facilities. Like I really see and have a great vision for creative works. So those are the two things I do well. Anything else that falls out of my realm, you talk to my business person about that. You talk to, I have, Ash, you hit the accountant about that. Like, I talk to, these people about different things within the company. But yeah, like I do what I do well. Not everything. I don't do everything well. I just know what everybody else should be doing.
We talked a little bit about us and us. We talked a little bit about, understanding your weaknesses or understanding your strengths and really, delegating and getting good people and professionals and people that are experts in certain positions that, you are not necessarily an expert in, to help collaborate and then also just move things forward. Like you focus on the things that you're really good at. You identify the areas that, you can put someone else in position so they can thrive at. And we also talked about the brand. You was explaining, the brand in general. And what are some of the type of products, clothing, services that Us and Us has available right now?
Right now, we have our first generation winter collection. So I partnered with a couple small businesses to help stimulate growth during like what the economy had like a slowdown, and these people were giving out stimulus packs, right? So I wanted to do something different. I just collaborated with two independent brands and to stimulate growth for them because they didn't have merchandising options. Well, one was an independent artist who had a very intriguing business name. And I said, that would look cool on clothes, You know what I'm saying? And so I was like, you could be making money off your clothes before anybody could be, making money off your music. And he's like, well, why don't you do it for me? So I did it. And as I was speaking about earlier with the cosmetics brand, a young lady had, a multitude of products from lashes to necklaces that has astrology references. It's like a astrology infused beauty brand. So they sell like crystal infused lip gloss. If you're a Taurus, they have lashes for you called like the bull, et cetera, et cetera. And I was like, but you don't have any merchandising options. Like your aesthetic is cool as fuck. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the colors you use, the logo is beautiful. Why don't you have it on any garments? And she was like, you do it for me. You know what I'm saying? And these are people that have said this to me and over time. But when I came up with this concept to do, the first generation winter packet, I was like, I'm going to take these two brands because they were the most driven. After people had told me that I was like, okay, damn, like they really do anything, but they don't have clothes. So let's go. I did a pop-up and, it generated some income for them. So
what's up, y'all? It's Brennan Boyd. And if you're an entrepreneur, if you're thinking about starting a business, the fact remains, your friends are not going to support you. They may buy a product one time or they may sign up for your service one time, but they're not going to do it consistently, right? You need to be in a group of other entrepreneurs ready and willing to support you. And that's why I created the Winner Circle, right? So in the Winner Circle, you get daily motivation, right? You get support economically from your group. We read books on improving our mindset and improving our businesses. And there's 2 group coaching sessions each and every month, right? And all of this is available for $35 a month. Click the link below and join the Winner Circle.
So the first generation of winners, that collection, is that 2 collaborations?
Yeah, so I have Came From Nothing, so that's the clothing line. When you see me, I have Came From Nothing right now. That's a collection I'm selling. The Astra Beauty is a collection I'm selling. It says like cruelty free, vegan, and made in the USA. So that's like the 3 things that I found to be, appeasing about the beauty brand. That's like what sells me on them. They're vegan, they're cruelty free, and it's made in the USA.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Exactly. Then I have the new collection that I've been selling. So the thing about my clothing line, and I don't want to get it twisted, right? Because I want to sit up here and talk, and people be like, "But what is this clothing line? We never heard of it before." It's da-da-da-da. I launched my clothing line in Black Friday of 2020, right? And we talk about, how I wanted to set up my company and the merchandising branches. So the thing about my company is it comes through a production company, and Us and Us is the original product. So in the bylaws of my company, every branch, so music, digital media, and merchandising, what we're talking about, every branch has a 2-part, type of product. There is original content that we create that we own as the production company, and then there's content that we create for services or for hire as independent contractors with big clients, et cetera, et cetera. So for me, when I'm talking about the products that I'm having now, yeah, of course, I've done merch, everything from, creating products with ESTG and CMG. Of course, I've done like those type of products. But when we're talking specifically now about Us and Us is my original content from my production, and we're moving. Right now, we're focused on the first generation series ends at the end of the second quarter. So the end of the second quarter is at the end of June. We'll finish. That'll be the final collection. The collection I'm the most excited about is coming out in September. During Fashion Week, I'll display there. I'm gonna have a couple couture items, but right now I'm selling the Mafia collection. It's a T-shirt. It has on it, the term mafia should not be synonymous with crime, for it is a word that denotes brotherhood before anything, right? And I'm selling a collection that has, pretty much made its name for me, the Us collection, the Basics hoodie, the Basics logo with the word US on the, joggers and Us on the back. And a lot of my pieces, I kind of sell my brand to a catered audience, right? So we're not in stores. I don't sell online anymore, although I did sell online, and it's a reason for that, right? I started, and everything is market research. I started online, I was selling my clothes, but I had more sales in person, and it was fun to me the way I was doing it.
So giving that real organic experience.
Yeah. So I stopped selling online and only started selling in person, and that is one of the best parts of my partnership with Yo Gotti is that I pull up at his events or his artist video shoots, and I used to be a stylist, or I still do style from time to time. So now, instead of pulling up with just all Christian Dior, all Saint Laurent, all, Vlone, et cetera, I pull up with a few of my items as well. Not really a few, but I pull up with my items as well. And God shows support, bro. And it's amazing, really, that I haven't had to be in stores or any of these things and still have a robust business, So
talk about the hustle, man, because I think the way that you're going about it is very interesting, right? Because most people right now, any type of business, whether it's a product-based business, clothing company, if it's digital media, digital products, whatever the case may be, e-commerce, most people want to get online immediately. They want to get online immediately. They want to do ads immediately. They want to make money fast, right? The relationship is always the most important thing when it comes to a business and consumer relationship, right? Building that relationship, people are spending X amount of money, right? To develop a new relationship with a consumer,
right? Especially
if you're paying for ads or whatever the case may be, right? Or time or whatever, whatever it is, right? And then later, they may develop that relationship in a physical form with a client or in some cases not at all, because some businesses are just online. They're not doing like, experiences. They're not doing like hand to hands. They're not even doing events.
Right.
So I found it very interesting that you started online, but you pulled everything offline strategically, so you can develop that relationship hand in hand and give people high level luxury experiences as they purchase.
Yeah.
Right. Which kind of it builds a deeper relationship with that consumer, because now not only did they get that product, but they get that experience, and you develop that relationship. Right. And how has that impacted sales?
Well, it's kind of like a personal concierge service. I keep an Excel sheet. I know all of my customers' sizes. I know what they bought from me before. I know what colors they bought, what things they like. So it's kind of like market research again. I'm keeping like all of this stats on all the different purchases. So I kind of have a very intimate relationship with my customers or my clients, right? So it services well.
My question I have for you is, would you even be more impactful if you offered the online while you were offering the high level luxury experiences?
Yeah.
Because then, like, if you pulled up to, let's say, Miami, you was there for 24, 48, 72 hours, and you were providing that product with the high luxury experiences, right? They're paying premium. They're paying a premium price. But then when you're out of Miami, obviously it's going to leave them with a demand because you're not there. They can't grab online.
Right.
So if you did have it online, then if they do a referral or a review, or if they want to pick up another size or another color, they can then jump online. So it's kind of like you can provide.
It's a backup thing. Like,
I was going to say you can provide that let's say it was a hoodie.
Yeah.
The hoodie from that high level luxury experience can be
follow through.
That could be $350, right? But then they could buy it out online for, let's say, $250, $275, and maybe $300, or maybe even $350, whatever the case may be. But you could even do like pre-orders or pre-sales. Or let's say you knew in a month you were going to be pulling up to like Chicago, and everybody that purchased, let's say, that hoodie that wants that experience, they could pre-order it during them dates that you're going to be in Chicago. And instead of paying $350 for that hoodie, maybe they're paying $500. Because once you're in Chicago for those dates, you're gonna pull up on them, or you have the location that they can go to, and not only are they gonna get that hoodie for $350, but now they get the white glove experience. You know what I'm saying? They get maybe it's a special gift. Okay. Maybe the packaging is a certain way, and maybe it's documented. So now they get the product, they get the ill packaging. You give them the hand-to-hand touch, the hand-to-hand white label, that the white glove.
Yeah.
And then it's documented. So now
you got a good vision, bro.
So now they go
collab on that.
So now they're on the gram. Now they're on the gram. Now they're on the YouTube. Because I think that what you're doing is amazing, because a lot of things going on in 2021. We're moving into 2022, and if you're thinking about 2021 right now, you're already behind. So you should be thinking about next year. So a lot of things that's going on. People are the whole pandemic shows you we are not engaging. People are disengaging. People are scared of each other. The whole mask got people messed up. There's a lot of things going on. Now with pandemic ending, right? People are happy to get back together. They're happy to have that physical human touch. So you have been giving them that physical human touch.
Yeah, man. I launched during pandemic.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So to continue to give that. Most people aren't doing that with their brands. They're just digital with it, or they're just shipping, right?
Right.
But you're giving them a whole experience, which is a luxury. Not only is a product luxury, but it's a luxury experience.
Right.
But doubling down and having that opportunity that they can then, go online and get a purchase, but then literally plan out like, when are you gonna have the next drops? Like what cities are you gonna be in next? They can pre-order that experience, purchase that item that's not available yet, and you're not available yet because you're not in that city. But boom, you get the money now, right? Or because they pre-ordering, you're gonna pull up to Arizona in about a month. You drop the location to them as soon as you pull up, because it's a secret location. They don't even know location yet. They're just buying their future. They're just buying their future white label experience that they know Us and Us is gonna bring and gonna provide to them in about a month. And then you pull up to that location, boom, they get a text message, what the case may be, secret text. Here's the location. Your item's going to be available on the 18th between this time and this time. Pull up. And then when they pull up, they get that white label experience.
So you know what's crazy right now? Like, I just want to say this for a second real quick. You know what's crazy? Like, I had a freak accident recently where I hit my head. And you were talking just now. And the sirens that just went by just made me have a crazy, like, massive, crazy, like, I can't explain it to the listener. I wish I could explain it better. But I basically had a concussion, and I blacked out, kind of didn't remember a lot, and it was scary. And, like, right now, I'm just, like, my head just started hurting. And it's a condition from that, just from hearing them sirens outside. And then, like, the light started being bright in my face. So y'all bear with me. It's like you know how, like, it's a trigger, and I don't know why that just triggered it.
It's all good.
But I kind of, my head started hurting a lot, and I'm kind of trying to just stay adapted and adjusted right now. One of the big things I will say is, you know, Brendan, I think we should collab on and I think this podcast will serve to, you know, be one of the first of a lot of collabs. And I think we should collab on those things that you were, you know, speaking to with the follow throughs and the net backs and getting and gaining those tractions. Is, you know, speaking of, you know, memory, it's just one of those things that for me, you know, I once previously operated it's a very sensitive subject. I won't go too deep into it, but I once operated a clothing line. I won't even say the name. Still kind of some murky legal proceedings.
Some murky waters there.
Yeah. And it left a sour taste in my mouth. Not on, you know, anything that me and a couple other business partners had anything to do with, but a couple, you know, owners wanted to take it and do elsewhere with it.
Yo, that's interesting, man, because
and as operating,
that's very interesting.
As operating it, you know, online, we killed it online. I mean, like, the fastest money I've ever made in my life. You would have thought I was selling drugs. Like, we hammered it online. We had the hypebeast, high snobiety, you know, the highest of influencers wearing it. And I mean, like, the most godly of influencers wearing, you know, our clothing line, right? And it happened so fast, you know, and I mean, that's kind of why the intimacy with us and us, right? So, because that's one of the byproducts of me setting it up is that I say us and us saved my life because I love to do it, right? So with me loving to do it, I didn't want to get consumed in the output so fast as much as the getting, like I said, getting to know the customer, getting to know the service of, you know, fashion, you know, alone by myself, you know, navigating it, you know, from a standpoint of I'm the director now, like I'm leading everything, you know? And so this gave me like the appreciation, which is why I took down the online store, because it's more or less like that's intrapersonal to me still. There are ways I can do, you know, make it personal and make it, you know, follow through and those people come through and have those things, but I still want to slowly, and in some cultures or whatever they call this, giving up the sauce. I'm sorry, I gotta give it to them. I want these people to hear this on Brennan Podcast. I'm ever so slowly rolling it out, you know, and every product right now should be looked at as an art piece.
Right? I mean, you're building the demand. I mean, right. Because the online is going to be there. It's not like you don't got to rush to go online. Online's just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. I mean, so, we're talking about $1 billion dollar industry. Millions, you know what I'm saying?
So right now, the products I'm making now are art pieces. Really, to me, that's why, you know, even the premium I'm charging for them, it's even worth more than that, right? Because this is a small business Black entrepreneur. First 1,000, first 2,000, 5,000, 10,000 products. You know, if you cop this shirt, you were the first one to get, you know, it's one of, you know, 500. If you cop this shirt,
you know what I'm saying? It's gonna evolve.
Yeah, so it's beautiful, really, man. It's just I like it a lot, and I think we should collab on, some of those future endeavors because you have a very dope vision, bro. And a lot of those things I had thought about, but not in the way that you just described. You know,
I think, bro, it's all gonna come to fruition, 100%. I mean, to be very candid, I never even looked at myself as a creative until about 3 years ago.
Why you say
2018.
That? Man, I think you underestimate, y'all gotta know how I know Brennan, right? So it's kind of weird, right? Like, I think, y'all, this the first dude I ever know that clothing company did $1 million in revenue. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let me tell you something.
Like your clothing brand was one of the first brands to do like a M that I ever met. Like you said, man, these people that we're talking to and they're listening to, there may be some people that may know me out there as J Ferb, the artist, but bro, y'all were sponsoring me because y'all had it like that. Y'all had it.
Well, listen.
So it's like you are a creative to me. You one of the people when I say he touched that 7 figures off the clothes.
Well, yo, listen.
I mean, that I know I could touch. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, 100%. But it was just one of the things, like in my other business, one of the things I really, really like, it's a coaching business. So one of the things that I really try to, hammer down is the accountability, right? And really getting and being a part of intentionally the things that you really want to come to fruition. Right. And a lot of that comes back to your mindset. So it took me a while to realize mentally, right, that I was a creative. That's because when I was in fashion and we were doing the brand that you're speaking about, me and my former business partner, it was really segmented, meaning he just handled creative direction, art direction.
Okay.
I handled marketing, sales, brand collaborations, brand development, influencer seeding. I did all the forecasting. I made sure that, there was a lot of times that we weren't on schedule as far as production is concerned, but I made sure that we was as close to those windows as possible. And I saw the shipping, bro. So I did a lot of stuff, obviously, and marketing, right? I almost forgot about that. I did a lot of things, but my vision there was narrow in a sense where it's I just saw him as a creative because he was coming up with the ideas for the clothing, designing it, had the long form vision in terms of, okay, this is going to be what this collection is about. I added my 2 cents, my 5 cents, my 10 cents on designs, on trends,
right?
I sat in on meetings,
right?
But I let him do that. And in my mindset back then, I always looked at that as what a creative was. So it took me a little while after, and honestly, bro, I'm still young in this creative journey, and I feel like I'm excelling at a really fast pace, at a really fast rate. But 2018 is when the first time I sat with myself, had a meeting with myself, and was like, bro, you're creative, and a lot of things have happened since 2018 for me. But yeah, I definitely fully accept that now. I know, I'm creative. I'm super creative. I got a lot of value to give, and a lot of value to offer. Yeah. But it's literally all mindset. It's literally all mindset. That's one of the things that I really wanted to break down. So I appreciate that, man. The gems that you shared, and even obviously, the flowers that you gave me. One of the things I want to talk about before we close this episode is really about your involvement and your contribution to CMG. We touched on a lot of things. I think one of the things that I want to really touch on, we touched on some fashion, we touched on some culture, we touched on some entrepreneurship. I want to touch on the relationship that you have with CMG. You mentioned Gotti, you mentioned Breezy. Let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about that relationship and, what you see in the future in terms of your involvement and where you guys are headed.
CMG is the greatest label in the hip hop game right now. And some people say that with a straight face, well, be serious just to let you know they're serious. I'm laughing because, bitch, we told you. Yeah, man. CMG is family, really, you know. So let's start there, right? CMG is family. A lot of people, you know, they not. My goal in life is something I'm watching every single day, right? So I'm able to see and practice something that I wanted to do a long time, and that's the best part of the relationship with me and CMG is I want for myself, and I guess in manifestation it brought about this way, and even through DNA, I want for myself to provide generational wealth for my family, right? And I'm watching I'm watching several men create generational wealth every single day that were once counted out, were once, you know, not appreciated for their contribution. And I mean about all of the artists on our label. Black Youngster, Moneybag Yo, 42 Doug, Big Boogie, you know, Block Boy JB, whom we manage, and supremely himself, you know, Yo Gotti, right? So for me, it's in being in company of other people doing what I'm doing is the most fulfilling part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's the most fulfilling part of it. Or like iron sharpens iron, steel sharpens steel. You know what I'm saying? And so that's the best part of that. You know, my relationship with that team is genuinely family. You know, we ride together, we gonna live together. We ain't gotta say ride together, you know, die together. Cause we ain't gonna die, bro. We finna live right now and enjoy these fruits of the labor of what we getting right now on earth as it is in heaven. You know what I'm saying? On earth as it is in heaven. You know what I'm saying? And I really mean that because it's coming into fruition, you know, as we see forth it. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I like mostly about CMG.
So, like, young aspiring artists, I want to get into music that are watching this. What are some of the characteristics of that independent label that...
Tireless work ethic.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Tireless work ethic. I mean, what we talking about? If we're not working, what we doing? Like right now, me and you, we working. You know what I'm saying?
100%.
And some you know, this is a build for your brand. And it's building, and it's a building, a house for my brand as well. So this is a compound. This is one layer. This is masonry. This is one brick that we have laid. Then we'll lay another brick tomorrow. And then we'll lay another brick tomorrow. And then soon we'll have a house. And then soon we'll have a hotel. Soon we'll have the whole block. You know, it is Monopoly, the board game right in front of you. Tireless work ethic, countless hours, days of putting in work on your craft makes you a career person. 10,000 hours, Malcolm Gladwell told us a long time ago.
He sure did.
Right? So, I mean, then what happens after that 10,000 hours? You reach mastery, compulsory. I've been doing what I've been doing, like you said, what, decade now?
Yeah, about that.
Just about, right? I'm going to give myself that decade because I know I'm going to keep going, right? And the point of it is, at this point, certain stuff for me is like second nature. It's not even a thought anymore. Like some people think they write reports and they come up with these, you know, ways. For me, it's all 100% instinct because I put the hours in, right? So certain people wouldn't know what to do in a situation where artists may need something and the producer can't get it here, It's instinct at this point because we put the countless hours in. So running an independent label, yes, it's difficult, it's tiring, but I'm not the person that's gonna sit up here and talk about the struggles of it because I actually enjoyed the fun of it.
Yeah, so you gotta enjoy that journey.
Oh my God, I enjoy the work so much.
Yeah.
I enjoy it so much that it's so fucking fun. You know, and it's like, wow, I wake up every single day and I do this for a living. You know what I'm saying? We wake up every single day and we do this for a living.
That's true. I mean, yo, at this point, I love spending money, man. Like I just spent 10 bands on an educational program so I could level up.
Okay.
You know? And like that's my flex right now. You know what I'm saying? Like last year I probably spent like 30 bands on education.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know this money that I'm spending, I'm investing directly into myself, directly into my business, you know, directly into me leveling up, directly into me getting access to information. I didn't have access to information before.
When you said that, I chuckled a little bit on the inside. I got to say it out loud. You know, a few years ago, I was teaching myself how to play poker, and I taught myself to the tune about 30,000 too.
Yeah, I dig that, man.
To learn, I had to lose. But, you know, I'm saying that to say the information you pick up is similar, you know, right?
Yeah, same thing.
And a poker game, right?
Same thing.
You picking up information, even if you lose.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, that's what the information is. That's what, I mean, I don't want to say that's where the information is, but that's where the learning happens, you know? Yeah. Sometimes the learning happens
Get them, B.
You know, sometimes the learning happens through life, obviously. You know, even when you win, you're learning, but the real learning happens when you catch an L. The real learning happens when there's a lot of uncomfortable.
You know, when it's learning.
Uncertainty. That's when the learning happens.
When it shake your stability.
100%. I had a client a couple of days ago who was scared to death to get on and make a story. And we talked about it, you know, and because she had a lot of fear. Talked about it. And, you know, she
had a lot of what?
Had a lot of fear. And we talked about it. And she even got emotional, shed a tear. You know what I'm saying? But she stayed committed. She gave true, you know. She stayed committed. She stayed true. I gave her, you know, a deadline to create some content by, you know, and that deadline came. She created some content, right? And not only was that content good for her first piece of content,
right,
but you can see the confidence. You can see the excitement. As soon as she posted it, she let me know. I checked it out. She was like, I can't wait to do the next one, you know? And she had to learn, right? And what came out of that learning? What came out of that? Her facing that fear head on. She created, she executed, she created a digital product. She put that out. She got a response because immediately people responded to her, and she was able to follow up on that. You know, so you got to spend money. You know, money is a tool. It's there to be used as a tool. You know, don't hoard it. You know, and don't be afraid to share your gifts. Don't be afraid to invest in yourself. Don't be afraid to invest in others.
Yeah, man.
You know,
let the dollar circulate.
That's all that truly matters. You know, you're like, I mean, or not, and then you can stay where you are a little longer. It is what it is. But I'm gonna just tell you firsthand that investing in yourself, spending that. Somebody be like, yo, you spent 10 bands on a program. I mean, yeah, some people spend 10 bands on a trip. So it's all about what you value. You know, I know that 10 bands is gonna bring me back probably 100 bands.
Right.
But you spend 10 bands on a trip, you got a good experience. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But that experience may not necessarily bring you income. It may not level you up mentally. It may not position you so you can make another bag.
Right. Like the lady used to charge me extra because I wanted to actually be in the store with her after hours when she closed, making my clothes. I wanted to stand behind her area where it's her no-go zone. You don't go back here. You can't go back here. Nobody can touch my machines, etc., etc. And I had to pay extra. So she would allow me to do that, stay there, and learn. But now I know how to operate, you know, a vinyl machine. Now I know how to operate screen print. Now I know how to operate an embroidery machine, you know, and it's like you said, bro, it's time. It takes that time. It takes it.
It takes that time. It takes that money, and you got to remove that fear.
Yeah.
I think one of the things I want to just say before we close out is that, you know, when people say like they get anxious or like if they're in a situation, you feel that little feeling in your body, you know, and for most people, they'll like back off when they feel that, you know. To me, I think that's your body's indicator that this is a moment for change. This is a moment for like revelation. This is a moment where you can truly grow.
Yeah.
Because like in some cases, you know, some dudes may see a girl and they may feel a little nervous to speak to her, right? But in that moment, that nervousness, that's literally, to me, I think that's your body's alarm system letting you know growth. And if you take that step, you talk to that girl, what can happen? Maybe you get that number, maybe you take her out, maybe she don't give you the number, but you learned something. Maybe you learned something about that approach.
Hey, I'm fucked up, right? I think I'm fucked up, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
because I don't get them feelings no more, bro. Like, man, it's fucked up, bro. Because like and I'm thinking, because I'm listening to you talk, and I'm like, man, bro. Like, and that's why I do dangerous stuff, bro. Because
so you can feel that
yes,
so you can feel that feeling,
bro. I felt that when I jumped out of a plane. I thought,
yeah, I did that one time.
Yeah,
that adrenaline,
God.
That adrenaline right there.
Oh my God, I've been in ATV accidents that I almost died in the fire.
You showed me that one.
Like, that was real fear. Like, I thought it was over then. I actually thought that was the end. But like, throughout the days and stuff, bro, yo, when you say that, dog, you just said that, you gave me goosebumps, because it's like, yo, that's part of the solution, you know, not the problem. That's part of the solution.
No, 100%. And a lot of people run for that, because, I mean, you got a lot of programming that's going on that's just pumping fear into the society. But anyway, that's a whole nother topic for another episode.
No more.
I might even jump on that on a solo tip, because, you know, I got my rants. I'm going to do my rants.
Got to do your rants, bro.
But yo, listen, I want to thank you for jumping on the podcast. This is my guy, Ferb, entrepreneur extraordinaire, in a bunch of different, categories and industries, making things happen, shaking up the system, you know, moving with the collaboration, moving with the real, organic, authentic, deep relationships.
Yes, sir.
And yeah, man, do you have any last words that you want to share?
Go get it. Go get everything you ever said you were gonna go get. Go get it. You know, and I mean, like, even if you know, the first step is the one when you get out the bed, right?
That's
like,
true.
I tell people that all the time, bro. You know, you already started, right? You got out the bed this morning, right? Okay, you did it. You did it already. You woke up. God woke you up. He gave you this moment. So take it. Run with it. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go right now. Let's go.
And where can they tap into you, man? Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. I mean, what's the best place for them to find you on the social media? Don't
find me, I'll find you. No, I'm just playing. You can find me on Instagram at yougottaunderstand. YOUGOTTA understand. You gotta understand. You gotta understand me. You gotta understand Brennan. You gotta understand that we are winners. We're gonna always win.
And if you're watching this podcast, I'm gonna drop that right in the bottom. If you're watching on YouTube, it's gonna be in the bottom, so you can just tap into that.
Oh, hi, YouTube.
But Ferb, I want to thank you, bro. I appreciate you. I'm pretty sure I'll have you back on in a little bit. We can talk about the growth since this first episode on both end. And I see you on your pursuit, bro.
Yeah, man. You know, I just want to let everybody know on YouTube, man. You know, I'm vibing today. I'll be at the CMG, boat party tomorrow. You know, Brennan called me today. I'm glad we had this conversation. But to those like, why is this guy in a road? Because I'm in a road. I'm in a road. That's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? I'm chilling today, man.
On the Pursuit, episode 1. My guy Ferb. We touched on a lot of different topics. And yeah, man, we'll see y'all soon.
Yes, sir.